Hello everyone, I'm Chad Elledge.
And I'm Ben Bakken.
And we would like to help you play your best golf this coming season. So to do that, we're going to get started with a training program that's to follow. At home, if you follow along with the parts of our training program, you're going to start to see results. You're going to be amazed. So Ben, how are we going to help everybody at home play better golf just by walking them through these training activities?
Well, we're going to lay out a plan for all of you to follow, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our muscles loosened up. So we're going to go ahead and walk you all through a Tathata Warm-Up, and we're going to go ahead and get your training started.
Very good. So a lot of you go to the range and just start hitting balls. You don't have a plan. We're going to deliver that plan right here, right now. So to do that, we're going to walk you through this warm-up. Here's how it looks. So Ben, we want to just start with a balanced posture.
Yep.
People talk about it a lot, and some people know what it means and what it doesn't mean. What's important for you is you're going to copy Ben, and this is going to be contingent on your perspective or how you feel. So Ben, if you set up in your golf posture and you bring your hands down to the middle and you connect your hands together, I want you to press your hands together, press your feet into the ground, and start to feel your perception of what perfectly balanced feels like. And at home, we're going to hold this for about 6 to 8 seconds. So Ben, as you're doing this, can you start to feel your abs turn on and your shoulders turn on and your glutes and your legs and everything turn on?
Absolutely. So right now I feel it mainly in my core and my glutes, and I'm feeling the weight on my feet right above my ankle bones.
Very good. So go ahead and stand up. So I don't only want you to stand up, I want you to get your shoulders open like this. Get your chest open. I want you to bring your hands back down to the center. I want you to press them together. You're going to give us your perception of perfect balance. Turn your core on, squeeze your hands together. Do you feel like you're getting more balance, or your core is turning on more now?
Oh yeah, I could hit a golf ball from here.
All right, very good. So this is going to be our starting position. So the next thing that we're going to do is, Ben, you ever mow the yard when you were a kid, buddy?
Still do to this day, man.
Still do this day. So if you were going to start the lawnmower,
Yep.
show everybody at home what that would look like. So from that balanced position,
So I'm still staying in my golf posture.
start in your golf posture. There we go. So let's do this 6 times. So you're going to start the lawnmower 6 times. That right shoulder blade is going to pull up and back. Feel that connection to the ground.
I think one of the other things that's important in this activity for everybody at home is make sure you rotate your lower body as you do so. So as I'm pulling back, you'll notice that I'm also rotating my lower body as I'm starting the lawnmower.
Very good. So that's about 6 times. So go ahead and stand up and relax. And then you're going to take a 5-second time out here, and we want you to go back to that balanced position. So get your hands back together. Your perception of perfect balance. And then you're going to do 6 more, man. Start that lawnmower for us. So lower half is moving. We're not restricting anything. We want powerful moves. Can you get your core turned on? Get that right shoulder moving up and back, just as you would if you were starting a lawnmower. All right, you got 1 more or 2 more in you there? Very good, very good. All right. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do what we call trail arm sweeps. So this is going to be a big move, opening up your chest, rotating big time. Ben, show us what 6 of those would look like. Big old trail arm sweep. So again, he's letting his legs move, his hips are moving, and he's going to start to open up his chest. See if you can keep that right arm straight and sweep it on back. So we're going to do 6 of these. Last one. All right, very good. So now you're going to stand up, you're going to shake that off, give yourself about 5 seconds, and then Ben, we're going to need 6 more of those, buddy. We're going to get you good and warmed up before we start your training program here.
Chad, would breathing be an important thing to do as we're doing these?
Yes. So again, if any of you at home have taken a yoga class, they're big on breathing. We're also big on breathing here. As you go through this, we don't want you holding your breath. Breathe your way through the activities. And you're going to start to feel your core turn on. You're going to start to feel things change pretty quick. Okay. So, have you ever been to the beach?
Oh yeah.
All right, so if you were at the beach and you were to hold on to a beach ball, and I want you to imagine that you're putting pressure on that beach ball. So don't let me come over there and punch it out of your hands. Now, if you were going to take that beach ball and turn it back like your trail arm sweep that you just did, show us what 6 of those would look like. Very good. So all the way to the top, can you keep the pressure on that beach ball? So notice what's happening here. A lot of you aren't going to be able to see yourselves doing this, but you really start to see your body getting in this position or pattern of what a really good golf swing or turn looks like. You know, people talk about the pivot, the turn, using your body, all that stuff. So by doing these warm-ups, it's going to take care of itself. You don't have to worry about any of the debate or the jargon. We just got to do the activities.
It would be a good idea to do this in front of my mirror at home.
That would be a beautiful idea for those of you who can get in front of a mirror and do this. That'd be even better because you see that your body is going to really start to look like Ben's here, the guys and gals on TV, so it's one of those things that just helps you do better.
Beach body?
Beach ball, beach body. So let's see. So we need 6 more of those. Put the pressure on the beach ball. So start from your perception of perfect balance. Give me 6 beach ball lined up. There we go. Keep the pressure at the top, and then keep breathing like they tell you to do in yoga. Don't want anybody passing out on us. All right, cool. So next, if we could take this beach ball, and then you were going to take it, Ben, you were going to take it and you were going to bring it to the middle and squeeze everything down to the middle. We want to see how much core engagement can we get on at the bottom, how much pressure can you put into the ground, turn your glutes on, all that stuff. So we're going to take the beach ball from the top down to the bottom and put the brakes on, man.
One of the things I enjoy as I do this type of warm-up is as I'm going to the top, I'm trying to think of how much pressure I'm feeling. So as I get up to the top, I'm gonna try to feel very little pressure. Maybe on a 1 to 10 scale, I'm gonna be about a 2, and then I'm gradually gonna increase the pressure as I go down to impact. So for me, it feels like I'm almost going from a 2 on the pressure scale to about a 7 as I get down to impact.
Got it? All right. So a lot of you at home maybe have never done this. If you start doing this, this is going to be day 1. You're going to be surprised at how you get better at it as we go through our training program here. All right, so there's 6 times.
Yep, take a breather.
Take a breather, a little 5-second breather, get those shoulders unwound, man. Get you nice and loose. All right, so now, give me 6 more of those. Take that beach ball, squeeze it down to the bottom. Boom. Boom. Boom, looking good. So we're talking about stability and controlling your body. We're not going to worry about the golf club or the golf ball yet. We're just going to start to create these patterns, which will help you hit the ball longer and farther this year than you ever thought possible. Okay, so in golf swing, we see that the legs really move. There's a way that the legs have to move, and we really see this pattern. So this warm-up activity we call surfing the knees. So the ability here to move your lower half independently of your upper half. So we're going to see how this looks. So Ben's knees are going to be moving toward the target side, and really going to let your feet and your ankles do a lot of moving. So we're not going to try to keep your feet flat on the ground. We're going to let everything move.
I definitely feel a lot of the pressure moving towards the inside of the right foot, outside of the left foot over the ankle bone, and then if you notice, my knees are starting to almost turn the corner or travel in a circular direction. I'm not trying to go in a linear direction.
So it's going to be curving, banking, surfing. We're going to be turning the corner toward that target side, yeah?
Yep.
All right, so there's 6 times about, I maybe did about 8. So we're going to stop, relax, and you're going to do there you go. So we're going to do this one more time. For those of you at home, maybe you've never done this, it could be helpful to get up against a wall and put your hands on a wall, and then you can surf your knees. It'll really help you feel the separation between what your lower half is doing and what your upper half is doing. So starting to train the pattern of surfing the knees is going to be very, very helpful for you. Okay, last but not least, man, you have a box? Ooh. We're talking uppercuts here. So a lot of you at home are really going to be wanting to hit the ball farther and straighter, and one of the coolest things about boxing is they can help develop a cool pattern for the golf swing, and that is showing us the uppercut. So on the uppercut, where do you want to be the strongest?
I want to be the strongest as I finish the uppercut. So if we go back to that scale that I was talking about earlier, at the top of my swing, I'm going to try to feel like I'm a 2, and then as I finish my uppercut, I'm going 10, baby.
All right. So here we go. You're going to follow along here with Ben. We're going to do 6 uppercuts here. Boom. Trying to feel stronger and faster all the way up here to the finish. So there's 3. Keep your breathing up.
I think another important thing to watch for at home is if you notice when I'm in the finishing position, my upper body is behind my lower body. So if I'm trying to punch upward, it'd be, I don't want to look like this. Because in the golf swing, when we're trying to produce speed, a lot of times we're trying to do it up past the ball. And if you think of patterns, if I'm getting my upper body here, I'm going to create a pattern that's maybe out to in or to the left is what we call it at GLA. And guess what? It's going to be pretty hard to control your low point. It's going to be pretty hard to control the direction of your golf ball if you develop that pattern.
And if you were in a boxing match, you get knocked out.
Yeah.
Do a couple more uppercuts. So another thing that we would say is at home, a lot of you maybe have heard to keep your head down. In this case, when Ben does uppercuts, he is not keeping your head down. that would not be a powerful upcut, nor does it help the golf ball go farther or straighter. So we're gonna wanna get you out of that idea or pattern as fast as possible so you can hit better golf shots. Okay, Ben, so are you feeling warmed up?
Oh yeah, loosey-goosey, ready to go.
Very good. So before we even touch a golf club, we just want to get you moving in the appropriate patterns, get some ideas or feels that'll be helpful for you. So as we continue forward with this training program, we're definitely going to start with a warm-up every time. The Tathata Warm-Up is what we're going to do. If you watch yourself do it in a mirror alongside as Ben doing it, you're going to be surprised at what you start to see as the weeks continue here. So, you're warmed up, you ready to go?
I'm ready to start swinging a golf club.
Okay. The next thing that we're going to do in our training program after the warm-up is we're just going to work on basic awareness. Can you pay attention to what's going on during the golf swing versus trying to make your golf swing do 16 different things? So that will not help you play better. Getting some awareness will really set the foundation for what's to follow. You'd be surprised at how powerful it will become. So Ben, the first thing that we want to become aware of, what would you think would be one of the more important things you could become aware of here?
I think balance in the golf swing is pretty important. So the nice thing about this, just like Chad had stated, is not only are we gaining awareness, we're also working on our ability to commit to one thing throughout the golf swing. So many of us have a tendency to commit to 3 or 4 things, and we're trying to do multiple things at one time, our performance suffers. You can think of this like texting and driving. There's a reason that texting and driving is illegal, and that is because your performance driving your vehicle now suffers when you're trying to do multiple things at one time. So when it comes to awareness, we're going to commit to just balance. What happens to the golf ball is irrelevant, and we're going to work on our commitment to balance. So I'm going to use a 1 to 5 scale as I do this. A 5 would be I felt my balance all the way through the swing, and a 1 would be I was focusing on my balance and trying to make sure that my right elbow's in the right place and I'm pivoting properly. That would be a little bit lower on that scale. So I'm going to try to get a 5 every time I make a swing throughout this balance activity.
And 5 is just about your balance, not the ball. Is that true?
Ball is irrelevant.
All right, so in these awareness activities, we're just going to focus on one thing at a time, and then 1 to 5 is about grading that. Were you able to pay attention to that one thing throughout the swing all the way to the finish?
You got it.
All right, so get yourself a golf club, get some golf balls. We're going to do this right now. So, Ben, what I would like to see, buddy, is with no ball. No ball yet. I want to see you make 5 swings with your eyes closed. So at home, give us 5 swings with your eyes closed, and it's really going to start to pay attention to your balance. You're going to feel it immediately, so we don't have to wait. That's the best part of it. If you feel your feet wobbling around or you're a little off balance, keep going. You're going to start to find that it self-corrects and it becomes better as you go. Mentor of ours taught us a long time ago, he said first things first. So first things first in this case, we got to learn to make a swinging motion, staying in balance. Yeah?
Yep.
And another thing is just committing to one thing, so in that case, balance. All right, now what we're going to do, we're going to get the balls in the way. Then what I would like to see you do, buddy, is can you put your feet together and make 3 swings here, just feeling and committing to your balance. All right.
5.
Very good. So you're just committing to your balance.
Yep.
At home, check in with yourself. Were you actually paying attention and feeling your balance, or were you more focused on the ball? On the 3rd attempt here, we just want to see, can you get more of your attention on your balance and off of the ball or off of the result? Very good, very good. So we're able to just get balance focused?
Yeah, I mean, I felt I had a really good commitment there. When I pay attention to balance, I just feel my feet. So I know if my feet are in balance, the rest of the body will take care of itself. And I was very, very engaged in my balance in every one of those swings. So I would say, with the 3 swings that I made there, 5, 5, 5. 5, 5, 5.
All right, cool. The next thing that we want you to do is we want you to post up on your front leg, your target side leg. Then show us what that would look like. So he's on his front leg. The back foot is going to be like a toe pick on an ice skate, so it's going to give you a little support back there. Now the question here is, can you make some swings just feeling balance on your lead leg all the way throughout the swing to the finish here? Very good. So we're not trying to get a good shot or a bad shot. It's not right or wrong. We're just trying to get balance focused here. Give me 2 or 3 more balls at home as you do this. Different experience than when the feet were together. Is that true?
The feels are a lot different, but as far as the distribution between my toe and my heel, it felt to me as I kept it evenly distributed all the way through with both activities.
Got it, got it. Okay, so now we want you to do that, you just did that 3 or 4 balls. Now we're gonna go to the right foot. This will be a different experience. You're gonna post up on your trail foot. The front foot is gonna be like a toe kick on an ice skate, and we're gonna see if you can feel and maintain your balance from there.
Chad, would it be important as people at home are doing this activity, am I just feeling my balance up until impact, or am I feeling my balance all the way through to the finish? What would be your thoughts on that?
All the way through is the art of the deal. So can you be present? Can you pay attention to one thing all the way to the finish versus trying to do 2 or 3 or 4 or more things, which is a disaster. And then you get confused, you get frustrated, you don't know what's true, you don't know what works. It doesn't work. So in this training program, one of the things that we're gonna really focus on is just committing to one thing, something that's under your control, and you're gonna be surprised at how much progress you make through that. Okay, so you did both legs together, front leg, back leg. Now I would like to see the old crisscross applesauce trick. So if you cross your feet, at home I want you to, so before you get a ball in the way, just make a couple swings with no ball so you can get a sense of this. For those of you at home who get really tense over the golf ball, you're gonna have to soften up your arms and shoulders quite a bit so you can make a smooth swingy motion here and stay in balance. So on this one, can you feel and maintain your balance all the way to the finish here? Very good, very good. Notice at home, Ben's not trying to hit it 100%, so he's really just making it about his balance. So at home, if you have to go slower, swing softer, make it small, whatever you have to do to stay in balance is what we are asking for. Okay, you ready for a challenging one?
Bring it on.
Bring it on. So this one is designed to challenge your balance to make it better. It's not designed to hit perfect shots. So it's very important that you understand that we're laying the foundation here for powerful shots to follow. Ben, have you ever tried swinging with one hand in one leg? So alternate hands. So you're gonna do your right hand. We'll take this ball away, so show people at home what this could look like. So he's on his trail foot and his lead hand. So as you watch Ben go through this, you're gonna see his balance gets challenged. He's gonna struggle with this one more than he did the previous ones, and that's okay. All right, now switch it up. Give me a right hand lead leg. All right, so Ben's able to make a swingy motion and stay in balance. Now, you ready for a ball?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you're gonna try to hit the ball, or you're just gonna try to swing and maintain your balance?
I'm going balance, baby.
All
There we go.
All right, good. So Ben has done this a lot. That's why he made that look easy. At home, don't worry about it if you swing and miss or you top it. Just switch hands. So give us the right hand and alternate leg. Just keep coming and going. And after we do about 6 or 8 of these, we're really just looking to get a sense of swinging and balance. Swinging and balance is the name of the game. Give me one more with the lead hand and the trail leg. So on that one, Ben hit it a little heavy. We're not going to stop and try to dissect why did that happen. Give me one more with your right hand. So we're just going to keep flowing. So as there's going to be errors with the outcome, we're not focused there. We're just doing the activities to lay the foundation and see if you can build up your awareness of what your balance is like.
Truth be told, what some of you are going to experience at home is you're going to experience missing the golf ball when you first do this. So I remember the first time I did this activity, it was not easy. So I was barely able to make contact, but remember, the goal is not to hit good shots when you do this. The goal remains to keep balance. So keep that in mind when you're at home doing that one, because that one's a little more challenging.
So as we go through this training program, we're going to follow warm-up, awareness next. We're just building some awareness. That's all we're doing. That's it. That's the only goal. You're going to be surprised at how that sets the foundation for you to get better as the activities to follow will serve more solid shots and help you hit it the way you want to hit it. So having said that, if we're talking balance, man, have you ever just tried to feel like a lower center of gravity where you just kind of root into the ground, dig into the ground? Give me 3 shots where on this one, you're just trying to feel a low center of gravity, and we will see what happens here. So on that one, I observed Ben finish in balance. It looked very stable. again, regardless of the outcome that you're getting at home, the question becomes is, are you starting to feel yourself get more stable and more balanced as you go through these activities? If the answer to that is yes, fantastic. If the answer to that is no, not yet, we're going to keep going. You'll be surprised at how it'll improve. Okay, have you ever tried to pay attention to your balance throughout the swing when the ball's in the way with your eyes closed?
I have, and I'm always shocked at what happens.
Okay, so this one is going to challenge your balance the most, and it's going to challenge your commitment. It's going to make you aware of your commitment. Remember the 1 to 5 scale?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this isn't about hitting a good shot or a bad shot?
Nope, it's about keeping my balance and keeping my eyes closed as I do so.
All right, so eyes closed, he's going to swing to balance. We'll see what happens with his balance. Pretty good balance, so we didn't see any wobble or falling over. Pretty
I
good.
felt some wobble.
So at home, we're going to give you about 5 or 6 balls just to make a swingy motion, feeling your balance all the way to the finish. When you close your eyes, you're going to become much more aware of your balance, so it's going to help with the awareness piece.
Good. Feeling good. Feeling good.
Okay. In your mind, moving gears now, we're going to go to the next play call. In your mind, whose finish on TV do you really, really like the most? Like, if you had to pick one, who would you say?
It's a good question. I think I would, I just always got to go with my favorite player in the world. That'd be Tiger Woods.
T-Dub.
Yes.
T-Dub.
I love that guy. We love him. Can't even do it.
Squirrel. Whatever it takes. So at home, in your mind, we're going to pretend. If you could swing it like Tiger Woods and stick the landing like Tiger Woods, and you could pay attention to that image in your mind, let's see what happens.
Like I am Tiger Woods.
Like the commercial. So at home, take your favorite player, your favorite image, and just see if you can sense or feel that, and no matter what happens to the ball, can you stick the landing? All right, very cool. So we're not going to say that in this case, Ben, you look like Tiger Woods. Is that fair to say?
Come on, man.
I know. So we're not going to say that Ben looks like Tiger Woods. However, before you hit this, you feel like you are, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
So we want you to pretend with this one. You want you to just feel, sense, pretend that you're the player you want to be. And can you stick the landing? We'll call it stick the landing here. Last one. Oh, the club twirl. You like that one. All right, cool. So, having said that, we just spent, I don't know, what do you say, 10 minutes or something like that, just gaining some awareness around your balance. At the end of this, a lot of you, I'm sure, started to feel like, oh my goodness, I hit it really, really well. A lot of you may have experienced the difference between thinking about a lot of things and learning to just think about one thing. So there's a lot of gold that's going to come out of this awareness training for a lot of you, and it's going to help set the foundation for what's to follow.
The neat thing about the activity is as you're going through it and you're paying attention to your balance, just like Chad had stated, if you notice you're hitting it exceptionally well, take this play call to the golf course with you, because it'll work out there as well. So as you're paying attention to your balance and you just notice like, holy cow, I've never hit it like this, we dare you to try to pay attention to your balance and you go play golf. So see if you can commit to that on the golf course. You might be surprised what happens.
Cool. Okay, we're gonna transition here. So we just wanna get some awareness now of swinging. Then when we talk about swinging, what are we swinging? What's the big idea? Why don't you talk on the get some balls, because we're gonna
Yeah, no problem. So what we're talking about is we would like to look at your golf club as though it's a stick with weight at the end of it. So one of the goals that you're going to have in this next activity is, can you just swing the weight back and forth? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to keep our hands and our body moving back and forth with the weight of this golf club. So this would be a swing motion. Sorry, Chad.
No problem.
Wham. So this would be a swinging motion. My hands and my body are just moving with the weight of the golf club, and the golf ball would be in the middle of that motion. A hitting motion might look something like this. Boom. When the player is actually trying to hit the golf ball, as opposed to just having the golf ball in the middle of their motion.
Got it. So a lot of you at home, you want to play better golf. We want you to play better golf. We're really going to just start simplifying this, and the goal is to create a swinging motion like Ben had just talked about. If we try to break the swinging motion up into parts or pieces, It's a shame because then we won't have a whole swinging motion anymore. We'll have parts of a swing.
Yep.
To play your best golf, we're gonna want it to be one motion, one free swinging motion, and you're gonna be surprised what you get. So these activities to follow are gonna start leading you down that pathway. We're not gonna have a million thoughts.
No.
We're not gonna,
One thing.
one thing. We're
Yep.
not gonna try to break it into parts or pieces and make it complicated and you have to be a PhD to understand what anybody's talking about. We're not doing that.
No, sir.
We're gonna start swinging today. Okay. So what I'd like to see is, at home, turn the club upside down. And your goal here is just to pay attention to, gain awareness of the weight at the bottom of the stick. So Ben's swinging this thing back and forth. There's no restricting or keeping his head down or rules or drama. There's just swinging. So he's swinging the weight at the bottom of the stick, back and forth. No intention to hit. Ben, would it be fair to say you're just keeping your attention on the weight of the club at the bottom?
Yeah, so I'm feeling the weight of the golf club, and I'm also sensing my hands and my body just moving with it.
Very good. So swinging the weight of the club, hands, body, arm, everything working together, not independent moving pieces or isolating any body parts. Everything's moving together, yeah?
Yeah, I feel like a free bird.
All right, cool. So a lot of you at home, maybe you have never felt the weight of the club head, so we're gonna do this one thing before we get on to the balls. Ben, if you turn that thing over, so hold it down at the bottom of the net. So I want you to turn it over, and I just want you to swing the grip back and forth. So in this case, Ben's just whooshing the grip. I'm gonna ask you at home to do the same thing. So if we ask you to swing the grip or swing the stick, a lot of you have zero problems doing this. And that's what a good swinging motion looks like. Ben, can you feel the weight of the grip at the bottom?
Yeah, it feels a little bit strange, yeah, but I can absolutely feel the grip at the bottom of the swing.
All right, so give me 3 more of those with the grip. Give me 3 more of those swinging motions with the grip.
And it makes a cool sound.
Got a little whoosh. Got a little whoosh. Whoosh is evidence of speed. We like that. Last one. All right, now, immediately I want you to do is turn this thing over. Turn it over, make some swinging motions. No ball yet. Same thing. Same thing. All right.
So the cool thing about this is when you go from the grip to the club head, now you can really feel where the weight of the golf club is throughout the swinging motion.
So just by contrast, we would expect you to feel like, whoa, that thing's really heavy. So when we talk about swinging the weight, that's what we're talking about. It's heavier down there than maybe you were aware of. So just back to the awareness piece, we're trying to grow some awareness around. There's a heavy thing down at the bottom. That there is called the weight or the club head. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's go 10 balls here.
Sure.
10 balls, and the only goal is, can you feel the weight of the club? It's not to hit a perfect shot, it's not to keep your head down, none of that. Feeling the weight of the club, and we're gonna use the 1 to 5 scale.
For all 10 balls.
Yeah, so what would be a perfect 5 for you?
What I just felt with no ball.
Got it.
So yes, a lot of times, if you're really looking to see what a 5 is, one of the things that you could do is you could essentially break this up into 3 swings. So you could make one swing with the club head flipped upside down, no ball, flip it the other way, make another swing. And then when the ball is in the way, I'm just trying to recreate what I just felt with no ball. So for me, it keeps it fresh in my head.
Okay, so at home, what we want you to do is we just want you to take 10 balls. We're not trying to be perfect, we're just trying to gain awareness of the weight of the club, swinging the weight, and then using the 1 to 5 scale to reflect on to what degree were you able to feel it. So if it's a 5, let's say you could feel the weight of the club all the way to the finish. If it's a 1, like I never felt it, I was thinking about something else, I was distracted, I was having racing swing thoughts. A 3 could be, I felt the weight of the club head, but then it went away at impact. Something like that. So as you go through this, we're just gonna see if we can connect with the weight of the club more and more and more as you go. That's the only goal. So for basic awareness training, it's just, can you pay attention to one thing throughout the golf swing? So far we've talked about your balance, that's one thing you can pay attention to. Now we're taking our attention to the tool, to the club, the thing that's gonna move the ball. Then I remember Tiger Woods, so I'll keep going. I remember Tiger Woods saying that he knows where the club head is at all times during his golf swing. And I remember the first time I heard him say that, I was like, how could you know where the club head's at all times during the golf swing? And I think what he meant by that was he could feel it.
Yeah, you can feel where the weight is at the end of that stick all the way through the swing.
So he's present to the weight of the club. So his mastery and his record and all that, but he's just really talking about the basics of feeling where that club head is at.
Doing all right so far. I had 1, 3, a 4, and the rest have been 5s.
Got it. So would it be fair to say they're not all 5s?
No, you should set your, you want a 5 to be challenging to achieve, right? Like, it's not really that easy to pay attention to one thing all the way through the swing because the mind likes to drift a little bit.
Yep.
So in order to achieve a 5, I mean, it has to be really good.
Yeah, very good. So when we talk about awareness training, we have to train the skill, the ability to just focus your attention on something, right? So they're not all going to be 5s, and that's okay. It really just requires you to be honest and be insightful with where's your attention at. So in these, Ben, is it fair to say that you're not trying to like put your swing in positions, you're just feeling the way of the club, or trying to?
Yeah, every single golf swing. And like I said, I'm staying disciplined with my process too. So notice as I go through this, I'm not racing to get through this 10-ball set. I mean, I'm really focused on achieving one motion. So I'm very disciplined when it comes to these swings. Every single time you'll notice, I flip the club head upside down. I'm feeling the weight at the end of the stick. I'm keeping my hands and body moving with it. Then I'm flipping it the other way. Same thing, hands and body moving with the weight. Now the ball's getting in the way. I'm trying to recreate what I just felt with the 2 practice swings. Got distracted.
Don't try.
2.
Yeah, so and that's honest, and this is going to happen to you, but we can see that Ben here is process focused. He's not living and dying by every shot. It gets hard to get progress when you live and die by every shot. So for those of you at home, maybe you're in the stock market. If you were to live and die by every day, the stock market going up and down, you'd drive yourself crazy, versus just looking at it long term and understanding that over the course of time, the disciplines of investing or whatever help you make more money.
Slowly climb.
Or like, say you want to get in shape going to the gym, you can't just look at the scale day one. It doesn't work that way.
Might be depressing.
You got to get in the gym, and that's what we're doing. So through this training program, we're going to walk you through the gym workouts. We're going to do the training, and then you're going to be surprised how you're going to get the result. Okay, so swinging, on that one, you just took 10 balls to focus on the way to the club head, yeah?
Yep.
Very good. So this is going to be a central focus of our training program moving forward. It's something that you can't get good enough at. We're going to keep coming back to this. There's going to be more to follow. Do you have any other thoughts before we move on?
No, just what Chad was talking about. I mean, this is the big idea. We are trying to create a swinging motion every time you have a golf club in your hand. So don't forget the one motion lesson.
Swing it.
Swing the weight. All right, cool.
I tell you what, so one thing that's going to be important is that there's a lot of different skills that are needed on the golf course to play well. It's not just the swing. Okay, so what I would like to do is bring you over to the putting green and set you up to just start some training activities that you can do on the putting green, you can do as we go through this. So let's change gears and we'll come back to this.
Sounds good. The nice thing about this next activity, you can even do it in your living room at home.
Yes.
So you do not need to be on a golf course to do this next one.
That's right. So most of these activities you can do in home, you can do on your simulator at home, you can do at the golf course, so this is going to be a program you can take with you. All right, so we need, how many balls? We need 3 balls?
Yeah, 3 balls.
Here we go. Come on over. Okay. So what we have here is a ruler, a 4-foot long ruler from the Home Depot. About $9, I think. Is that true?
Yeah.
Something like that. So in this case, the first part of this training program is we're going to do a concept that we call calibration. So we want to calibrate, and we want to help you calibrate. Now the question is, what are we calibrating?
We're going to calibrate your start line, so your ability to start it on your intended line. One of the other nice things about this ruler is you have an alignment device here to help you as well. So if you look at the end of the ruler, as long as the ruler is in line with the middle of the hole, you have an alignment device here. So as I'm calibrating, I'm also making sure, is my putter blade square to the end of the ruler? Now, we're going to try to make some errors on purpose. Is that right, Chad?
Yes. So a lot of you at home, we're not going to try to be perfect. We're going to calibrate. That's 2 totally different things.
Yep.
So we're going to calibrate the start direction of the ball. We're going to make errors on purpose, and you're going to be surprised at how doing so helps you understand, get better, score lower. It's like a miracle. So having said that, here's how we're going to calibrate. Ben, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to see if you can get this ball to go left first. We want to get it to go left. Very good. The second thing I'm going to ask you to do is get it to go right. All right. Give me another one there at left. Go left again for me. So let's time out here for a second before we keep moving forward. At home, if you do this, let's say you try to hit it left and it actually goes straight.
Yep. Because that will happen to some people.
That will happen.
Yep.
Or for others, you try to hit it right and it actually goes straight.
Yep.
How do you reconcile this? What do we help our friends at home to understand?
Yeah, so I can just tell you about my own experience that I just had. So if you noticed as I was doing the activity, when I was trying to go to the left, the ball rolled off the ruler immediately. And then when I was swinging my putter head to the right, it almost went in a couple times. So what that's telling me is, in order for me to get the ball down the ruler, when I felt like I was pushing it off to the right, I just need to feel a little less of that in order to get it down the ruler. There's been plenty of times when I've done this activity on my own, when I try to miss it to the right and it rolls all the way down the ruler. So what that's telling me is, in order for me to start my ball in the intended line, I needed to reproduce that feel that I had when I was trying to miss it to the right, because that's gonna allow me to start it on my intended line successfully.
Very good. So, there's a difference. There's going to be a difference between what you try to do
In reality.
and what really happens. So, moving forward with this training program, a story that we always will come back to, and the objectivity that we can lean into, is that the ball is the teacher. The ball is the teacher. You're going to hear us say it a lot. We're going to lean into it. So, if you try to make it go left and it actually goes straight, what's the ball
cool. It's fine.
teaching you? Yeah.
So gotta feel left to go straight.
There you go. It's like Lightning McQueen, turn right to go left.
That's right.
So the ball is going to tell you, the ball is going to be your guiding true north star as we move forward. Cool? Okay, so you did some left, some right. Now, let's see what happens if you make it go straight, or try to make it go straight.
So in my mind right now, in order to get this ball down the ruler, I know that I have to feel my putter swing just slightly to the right because of how close I came to making it when I was trying to swing it. I would call it severely right.
Got it. Try one more time to make it go straight. It's okay at home if you miss. It's no big deal. There's nothing wrong with your putting stroke. There's nothing broken. And just try again. Perfect. Okay, give me one more at trying to go straight. Beautiful. Okay, so that one didn't go in the hole. Man, if you had to guess, I know we're not talking about it right now, but if you had to guess, why did that one not go in? What would you say?
The ball was rolling too fast, so I would have to do something to slow it down. So either I could shorten the length of my backstroke, I could slow down my tempo. No real correct answer to that question.
No problem. So we're not trying to be perfect here. We're just trying to get a sense of calibrating the start direction of the ball. So let's go through it one more time.
Sure.
Where you're going to go left on purpose. Then you're going to go right on purpose. Nice. And then you're going to go straight.
That ruler's pretty fast.
The cool thing about this ruler is it'll expose the truth that speed also matters. So we're not just talking about hitting putts straight. Speed is really, really important. In the training program to follow, we'll get to speed activities. For right now, we're just calibrating for the start direction. So in this training program, it's going to be very important that you stay on task with us, because we have a plan. We're going to walk you through it. So right now, we're just doing start direction.
Yes, sir.
Send it straight for me, buddy. Okay, very cool, very cool. Okay, so calibrating is the first step. Calibrating is the first step. Hit some left, hit some right, then hit one straight. There's probably going to be a difference between the intention of what you intend to do.
Versus the reality. Yep.
Very good.
Which is definitely the case in my putting stroke. So, like I talked about earlier, as I'm trying to make these balls down the ruler, I am feeling like my putter head is moving rightward. It does not feel like it's moving straight at all.
Very good. And then the guiding, the true principle, the North Star is going to be the ball being the teacher, yes?
Yep. You are not my teacher. The ball is.
That is true. The objectivity of the ball is the only thing that we can lean into. Everything else is just opinion, and we know about opinions, right?
That is true.
Everybody's got one. Okay. So now what we want you to do is we just want you to take stock. We want to assess. What we'd like to know is how many times out of 10 can you make the ball go in the hole? So next you're going to do 10 putts from about 4 feet. And the question is how many out of 10 go in? Fire! You never thought this good when you're my partner, man.
Hey, this could be my year.
8. 9. 10. Show off. Okay. So in that
Calibration
case,
really works.
Yeah, so the calibrating was the first part. And then that one, 10 out of 10, fantastic job. At home, if you're 2 out of 10, no problem. It's just a starting point. It'll give you a way to measure progress moving forward. If you're 7 out of 10, great. That's a starting point. That's a way to measure progress moving forward. So whatever the number is, it's not good or bad. It just gives you an assessment starting point. It gives you some barometer for how you can make improvements. So as the training program continues, when 2 turns higher or 7 turns higher, you're on your way. Any questions before we move forward or any thoughts?
What's next? Let's go.
All right, cool. So one thing in this training program is we're not going to stay in any place too long. On the golf course, you hit a drive, you go down to the fairway, you wait, you hit a shot, you go up to the green, beer cart pulls up.
I'll
You
take
wait.
2.
Yeah, you wait. So we're not going to stay in any place too long, and we're going to keep moving. So this is going to be very, very important for you to understand when you're training here with us. We're going to keep you on the move. So let's go back to the ball striking department. And we're going to take that 7 iron. We're going to start to do some training around what we think is the number one most important fundamental in the swing. And when we define fundamental, we define it as absolutely necessary. Can't live without it. The guys and gals on the TV, however their swing looks, they all adhere to this one fundamental. Is that true?
That is true.
And what would that be?
Low point, or maybe an easier way to think about it as opposed to think about low point, or where your divot starts. So one of the things that you're going to need to be able to do to compress a golf ball and hit it solid is as the club is coming down, you're going to want to hit the golf ball first, and then the divot is going to start slightly after the golf ball. So it is absolutely necessary for you to work on controlling where that divot starts.
Very good. So where the divot starts, the lowest point of the golf swing, is really, really important. Another way to say that is, can you hit the ground in the same spot?
Yeah.
So a lot of you at home are asking for consistency, and we appreciate that. You want the ball to be better, and you want it to fly straighter and longer. We would start with just, can you control where the club's hitting the ground?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to start that. That's going to be a super important part of your training. Remember the one thing commitment? We're going to get back to that, and that just has to do with where this club's hitting the ground. So before we get a ball in the way, and we want you to do this at home, start swinging, and we just want you to pay attention to, back to the awareness piece, pay attention to where the club's hitting the ground. Some of you, as you do this, maybe the club misses the ground. Maybe some of you are taking divots that are really, really deep. Keep doing it. Maybe some of you are starting to become aware of the club moves around and it doesn't interact with the ground in the same spot every time. Yep.
Mm-hmm. The earth is big, people. Make sure you hit it as you're doing this activity.
You gotta hit the earth.
Don't miss the earth.
So for the irons, for the ball to elevate, we would like the club to interact with the turf. It's gonna help you find the sweet spot, and then the degree to which you can control where that club's hitting the ground is gonna lead to more consistent shots, more solid shots.
Yep.
Right, better outcomes.
More consistent distance control.
Okay, so on that one, you just really started to focus with where the club was hitting the ground, and maybe you became aware of the fact that it's easier said than done. It doesn't always hit the same spot.
Nope.
All right. What I'm going to ask you to do now, buddy, we're going to use this ball as a reference. So get yourself a ball, get yourself a tee, a leaf, whatever it is, and I want you to swing here. But I'm going to ask you to hit the ground in different spots. So let's start by trying to hit the ground over here behind the ball. So I can see on that one you hit the ground well to the right of the ball. Very good. So at home, keep this up, see if you can hit the ground to the right of the ball. Now, I want you to see if you can hit the ground somehow, some way over here to the left of the ball. So at home, see if you can hit the ground to the left of the ball. Okay, now we're going to go back, hit it to the right of the ball again. So we want you to hit it to the right of the ball. And as you start to do this, you start to feel like, oh, that's different. I can hit it over here and I can hit it over there. All right, now we're going to go back to the lead side. Target side of the ball, or from your perspective looking at the ball, the left side of the ball. All right, now we're going to ask you to hit it somewhere in between, so somewhere right at the ball, if you will. Okay. Now, here's the question for you. Question for you at home. Were you able to move around where that club was hitting the ground?
Yeah, it was no problem. So I think one of the questions you might be asking yourself at home, well, how do you do that? We're not going to give you the answer. You have to run some experiments and figure out what works for you and what doesn't. So what I was noticing is as I was trying to hit behind the ball, I felt my weight or pressure kind of hang back on my right side. When I was trying to get the divot in front of the ball, I felt the pressure kind of stay on my lead side. And then when I was trying to get it at the ball, it was a little bit closer to 50-50. So that's how I did it, but just know at home there's really no right way and wrong way. You just have to kind of run some experiments and figure out what works best for you.
Very good. So we're going to run the experience and then the experiments, pardon me. And through that, a lot of you, most of you, found out that you had the power to influence where that club was hitting the ground.
Yep.
What a gift. So you have the power to change. You have the power to change. So we don't have to chunk it for the rest of our lives. You can shift it. You don't have to blade it for the rest of your life. You can shift it. Very good.
And the nice thing about this is just remember that, you know, as we're doing this, there's a time and a place for each one of those spots that I was hitting. So an example would be in the bunker. I'm not necessarily trying to get a divot in front of the ball because if I'm green side in the bunker, that ball would go way too far. I actually need to move my low point backwards. So it's really important to understand that as you're doing this, there's really no right and wrong with this low point stuff. You have to have the ability to shift it, because the golf course is going to demand different shots, and if you don't have the ability to shift your low point, you're not going to be able to hit all the shots.
Yeah. So what's more valuable than consistency?
Variability.
Adjust.
Yeah.
You got to change. You're going to have to change something. So through these training programs, adjusting or varying what you're doing is going to be another foundational piece to what's to follow. Okay. So now that you saw with those swings that you could hit the ground over here, hit the ground over here, hit the ground somewhere in the middle.
Yep.
Now we're going to do the same thing with the ball. Then I tell you what, I guess it could matter from the player's perspective to what degree are you trying to hit it in front or behind. Is that fair?
Yeah.
All right, very good. So what continuum would we use to help our friends at home identify what works or what doesn't?
Well, we always like, we like to use the words slight, moderate, and severe. So as I'm doing this activity, you know, I might try to hit slightly behind the ball, moderately behind the ball, severely behind the ball, slightly in front, moderately in front, severely in front. You know, basically trying to match up my intention versus what is actually happening.
Very good. And then back to what? Calibrating
My low point.
procedure.
Yeah.
So low point's number one.
Yep.
We'd have to be able to adjust to then calibrate. And the ball's going to be the teacher to let you know what works and what doesn't for you.
You got it.
All right, very good. So now we're getting into the nuts and bolts of this thing here. So, then where would you like to start, man? What experiment are you going to do first?
I'm going to start with, I'm going to try to take a divot that's slightly in front of the ball. So I'm going to try to hit the ground just slightly in front of the ball here.
Very good.
I'm going to see what happens.
So nothing else. You're not trying to keep your head down. You're not going to try to keep your left arm straight. Any of that.
Not trying to do one motion, not trying to do bounce. I'm trying to hit the ground slightly in front of the ball, and that's it.
So the power of intention here is what we're going to leverage. You're going to be surprised at what you can do when you just simply intend to. So on that one, were you committed 1 to 5 again? Were you committed to just slightly in front of the ball?
Yeah, I was a 5 there, and then one of the things I noticed is the golf ball told me that my divot was slightly behind the ball there. So I'm going to run it a couple more times to see what happens. So I'm not going to make an assumption off one ball. I'm going to hit a couple shots and see if that continues to happen.
All right, so let's do slightly in front of the ball again.
Same thing happened. My commitment was good. I was still a 5. Notice the contact was still slightly behind the ball.
Got it, got it. So let's do one more at home. So you're going to do 3 where you intend to hit the ball slightly in front. A little heavy there, yeah?
Yeah, Yeah, so I got the same outcome all 3 times. So I'm gonna make the assumption that when I try to take a divot that's slightly in front of the ball, the reality is my divot is starting slightly behind the ball. It's like I'm flip-flopped.
Yeah. So kind of like the putting. There's just a difference. Yeah, no problem. So this isn't good or bad. This is just the way it is.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
Yeah. So we're not going to talk about the way things should be. In this training program, we're going to deal with the way things are.
Absolutely.
We're going to deal with reality, and that's just fine. So as long as you understand this is the way it is, even for the best players on TV, you get farther faster.
It's just the way it is.
It's just the way it is. So let's get on with it. Here we go. Okay, so slightly seemed like you hit a little bit behind. Where are you going to experiment next? Are you going to go moderately?
Yeah, I'm gonna go moderately, so just a little bit more than slightly and see what happens. Cool. The cool thing is, as I did slightly in front, I maybe uncovered what would work for me in the bunker.
There you go. So you can always use it. It's always useful somewhere, somehow, some way in the future. Oh, well that sounded different.
Wait a minute.
That sounded different. So in your mind, rather than just go slightly in front of this ball, you went somewhere farther out, like just more?
Probably 3 to 4 inches.
Got it. So your perception of moderately could be different than our friends at home.
It's open to interpretation, right? So there's no right and wrong here once again.
Totally. So totally subject to your perception, your interpretation of this. Just keep flowing through the activities.
Ooh,
Another shot one there.
it's a lot different than slight.
Maybe if you go moderately in front of the ball and putt like that, you can be my partner. Keep it up.
Yeah, that's cool. I gotta earn my spot on your team. Is that what you're saying?
I told
This is
you
my
this-
tryout.
I told you this training thing worked. Okay. Moderately in front. So now what we're going to have you do, Ben, what would you say? Should we go like slightly or moderately behind, or go to severely in front?
I think just for the folks at home, let's go severely in front and see what happens, because my interpretation of severely is maybe different than what your interpretation of that is at home.
Very good. So some of you may be experiencing that you're hitting the ball much differently now. Some of you may be experiencing like, man, I'm topping it, or something's happening. Bear with us, keep moving. We're going to see severely in front now. Let's see what happens.
So to me, severely in front is here.
A lot.
Like that's a lot, right? So in my mind, when I think of severe, I'm going way out here, almost running out of the driving range, man.
Some of you might not think that way. You might think 3 or 4 inches is severe.
Yeah.
So again, back to Ben's point, it's open to your interpretation. Let's see what happens. So we're going to run the experiment. So, in that case, you tried way in front. Keep going. I'm going to talk to our friends at home. When you try severe in front, what I heard was a top on the first one and really pretty thin on the second one. It didn't sound like the moderately one. So it seemed like in this case, for Ben right now, trying to hit the ground moderately in front of the ball was the most helpful. This might be true for some of you. Others, it could be slightly or severely. Maybe a surprise. Let's go the other way with it, buddy. So I want you to try to hit one ball. At home, you're going to hit 4 balls, where you try to hit slightly behind the ball. One more slightly behind. So for some of you at home, maybe you're like, wow, that's more solid. And then some of you could be asking, well, you have to hit the divot you said, you have to hit the divot in front, which is true. But remember, there's going to be a difference between what you intend to do and the reality. So some of you might hit more solid shots when you try to hit behind the ball. Others might be like, man, that's normal.
Yeah, I mean, funny story about that. So 2 years ago, I remember around, I was on vacation, I was playing some golf with my father-in-law, and I remember warming up on the driving range. And the outcome I was getting on the driving range is they were all going really low. They felt like I was hitting it low on the club face. And I went back to this calibration experiment. So that day, I happened to be trying to hit the ground way back here, and I played my best round of the season. So at home, don't try to get things right. Just know that there's going to be a right way that works for you. There's no such thing as right and wrong, but something is going to jump out at you, and it's going to allow you to have a lot of success. So it was interesting. So that day, I had to look here to hit it solid, and then the next day I went and played again. Guess what? I had to change my intention because that wasn't working, and I started chunking it.
So things are going to change. That's why we have to be dynamic. We have to have some clarity, principles, what matters, what doesn't. We would say committing to one thing matters, yes?
Yeah.
We would say low point matters, yes?
Yep.
We could say being able to adjust or move it around really matters, yeah?
Yep.
Very good. Very
How you
good.
get there doesn't.
Right. So a lot of you at home get bogged down or stuck in the minutia, the debate, the details, the bureaucracy. Ay. We're not doing that here.
This goes on and on, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
so
Holy moly.
please stop the madness. However, to play better golf does require taking action. Does require some degree of training, yeah?
Maybe some open-mindedness.
Open-mindedness, clarity, precision, things like that.
All
And
those
then
things.
that's what we're going to do here. Okay, so let's do, for the sake of it, just for contrast. We always like contrast in training. Do severely behind.
Oh, yeah.
So you're going to try to hit the ball severely behind on this one. Yes. So for some of you who struggle chunking the ball and blading the ball, this can feel normal. Maybe this is because this is what you already do. It's actually useful to practice the errors, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Because then you understand, oh, that's why I chunk or blade, right? And then maybe when you went more forward, it helped to get more solid. So moving around the low point is going to be something that we just asked you to do, and then we're going to ask you to do it again in episodes to follow. So, you think you want to go back over there and see what we can do with that putting again?
Yeah, let's go test it out. So maybe more like a golf experiment. Maybe test out some 3 to 5 footers. That'd be cool.
So, remember back, we're going to keep you on the move. In golf, we don't ever stay in one place too long, so in training, we don't want to stay in one place too long either. So Ben, I would be curious to know, we have random 3 to 5 footers.
Yes, sir.
You don't get to hit 10 in a row to the same spot anymore, because you never get that opportunity in a game of golf. Right? Here's what we want you to do at home. You're going to get 5 putts. 5 putts. And we want to know how many out of 5 can you get to go in the hole. But what we want you to do is pretend like it's on the 18th hole to break 90 or break 100 or break 80, whatever your goal is. Maybe win the club championship, who knows. So now we can see Ben actually aiming and going through his process or routine.
Or maybe it's to make your golf team. How many do I have to make to be on your squad, man?
Just this one. So start with this one. Yeah,
All
so always getting back to the present. What's important now? Starting with this one. So let's see what happens here as Ben goes through this 5, and we want you to follow along. Do this on your own.
I'm off the squad.
No problem. So you're not off the squad. You're still my buddy. We're all good. One thing that's going to be important that nobody ever talks about, a skill that's going to help you make progress, is just the skill of acceptance. Not all putts go in. Is that true?
That's true.
You guys? So we're not trying to be perfect. You're never going to get 100% of anything. So having said that, we're just going to keep on flowing. So we can see Ben's going through his routine, whatever that may be for you. Just fall in line with what you do naturally, and we'll see what happens. So in this case, we just want to try to simulate making putts on the golf course as best as possible. As best as possible. So one at a time, different spots, moving it around. We do not want to stay in the same spot. You never get that opportunity in a game of golf. It never exists, does not happen, cannot happen, will not happen. Okay.
One of the things I can tell you at home is as you're going through this activity, the experience changes quite a bit. So what I'm noticing now is as I'm hitting these 3 to 5 footers is it's a little bit tougher to stay process focused. My attention likes to drift to the outcome. So the nice thing about this type of training is as you're mixing up your 3 to 5 footers, like I said, you're gonna feel a little bit different as you do so. So this feels like I'm playing golf right now. Like I said, I'm still trying to use that 1 to 5 scale, but I have yet to get a 5. So continue to use that scale as you're hitting your 3 to 5 footers, because that's gonna recreate what you're trying to do on the golf course.
That 1 to 5 scale is ultimately the thing, or committing yourself to one thing is ultimately the thing that's going to help you perform.
Absolutely. And if you don't continue to use that scale while you train, the odds of it showing up when you do play on the golf course in a competitive environment, it's not going to be there.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure that you incorporate this into your training.
Yeah, so a lot of people would be under the misconception that if they just repeat it perfectly and repeat it enough, it will then become automatic, so they then won't have to think about it anymore. We would say that's not true, because all the shots that are going to be important to you, all the shots that are going to be matter to you will require your full attention and intention. So you're going to have to do both. Finally got a 5. All right. So on that one, did you just take yourself, because you had talked to our friends at home, just take yourself back to being process focused? And that's why you got a 5.
I had to reset, so I just took the time to talk to the camera for a little while to allow myself to reset and recommit on the next putt.
All right, very good. So a lot of you at home, maybe you're frustrated if you miss a putt or two. That's okay, but we would say you got to learn to, one, accept the outcome for what it is. It's not good, it's not bad, it just is what it is. And then 2, reset, recommit to your process so you can give the next one the very best opportunity to go in. Okay. So on that one, Ben, how many times out of 5 did you make?
3 out of 5. So I was 60% there.
Very good. So what's fascinating about this is on the ruler, you looked very, very good.
Yeah.
And then in the little performance assessment here, it wasn't as good, which is fine and normal. So we want you to know that's normal. We want you to know that that's okay, and we're going to do it anyway, and you're going to be surprised at how this type of training is going to help you make more putts. Not all the putts, more putts, which is going to get you under those barriers of 100 or 90, what have you. So I say you do it another time.
Sure.
Now the question for you is there anything that you think you would do differently to give yourself a better chance to make more than 3 out of 5 or whatever your number was?
So for me personally, the only thing I'm going to do differently is I'm going to try to get higher numbers on my commitment scale. So I noticed I only had 1 5 on the commitment scale the first time through. So I'm going to rerun my same intention, which is swinging the putter head slightly to the right and just really be more committed on each one of my strokes. So I don't feel like I need to change what I'm doing with my putting. I just need to commit.
Up your commitment.
I need to up my commitment.
Up your game.
That's right.
Here we go. All right, so 5 more putts. So we're going to do this for a total of 10 times. And at home, just consider, one thing, would you adjust what? Nobody knows better than you what you were doing, how you were doing it. And then a lot of the times you know more than you think you do. So just see if you do it a second time around, if you pick one thing to adjust, see what that gives you. Stop sleeping. Just watching you go through your process. So as you can see, what we'd like you to be doing it at home is just go through your process every time. See if you can focus your attention on one thing, and we'll see what the ball does or doesn't do. So you can see as you're doing this, this takes discipline. This takes effort. So to hit 10 putts here, it might take 8 or 10 minutes, and that's okay. It might take 6 minutes. Whatever it is, it's just we're slowing things down to give you one putt, one chance. Train more like you play, which will help you play better golf on the course. Okay, well done. So in that case, how many times out of 5 did we go in?
Same outcome. So 3 out of 5, so 60% for my 10-ball set, but I will say that my commitment was better the second time around.
Very good.
Yeah, so I felt like I made progress there.
Very good. So what's important to know is regardless of the outcome in your training, training like this will help you perform better when you're playing. Is that true?
That is true.
If you stand in the same spot and hit putt after putt after putt and they all go in, that does not guarantee at all better performance when you play. Is that true?
Well, it's just like the ruler.
Right.
So with the ruler, I stayed in the same spot every time. I didn't go through my routine. I made 10 out of 10, it seemed easy, and then all of a sudden we varied the training, and all of a sudden I felt different, hitting the different putt every time and introducing my routine. So it's really important to make sure that you do this variable training when you're on your own, because it's going to translate to the golf course much better.
Very good. So we have a look at the ruler as basic skill building.
Yep.
The calibrating is basic skill building, right? So we have calibrating, ruler training, and then these 10 putts here is just more performance training or transfer training, some people like to call it, yeah.
So I've got the skill. Now we just got to work on transferring it.
Yeah, which is a lot of times a missing link in golf instruction. Nobody really works on that, because when people see the error or the ball not going in, they just they think something's wrong, and so their technique's never good enough. But the reality is, nobody makes 100% of anything.
No.
100% of anything ain't gonna happen.
Ever.
So, ever. So we're past that debate, and we're in about perfect. We're just gonna get on with moving forward so you can break your scoring goals and have more fun when you play. All right, you ready to go back to the ball striking?
Center face contact, let's do it.
Let's do it. On the move we go. So you want to use your 7-iron again, or would you like to move different clubs in the name of varying what you're doing?
No, let's switch clubs.
Okay. What club would be good? Talk to our people at home while I get these golfing balls here.
Let's do my driver. So, I always like practicing the driver because I know if I can hit bombs down the middle of the fairway and I can putt, guess what? Probably gonna score fairly well.
We could debate it, but I feel like those are the most two important clubs in the bag. The driver and the putter, so the first shot and the last couple shots you hit on the hole are gonna be very, very important.
I know it's important for me.
Totally. So whether it's the driver or the putter, we don't know. We just know they're both very, very important. So in this, we talked about warming up. Got to start with warming up. Second piece is we got to get present to one thing. We talked about balance. Then we talked about swinging. Then we did some putting work on the low point where it's the club hitting the ground, and then we're going to finish here with some driver training. So before we get we didn't have the tape right. Here you go. Thank you. So having said that, we're going to put some face tape on your driver. If you don't have it right now, don't sweat it. We're just going to move forward. If you have some foot spray, a lot of people use that.
It's got to be Dr. Scholl's though, so just remember when you get that stuff, it's got to be Dr. Scholl's. And no, we are not sponsored by Dr. Scholl's. It's just if you get anything other than Dr. Scholl's,
It'd be cool if we were.
it's gonna leave a clear film on the face, but the Dr. Scholl's actually leaves a white film on the face so you can tell where you hit it.
So that Odorex works. The other stuff gets messy and nasty, so don't use that. Face tape we think is the best because it's not messy. So moving forward, if you don't have face tape, get you some. Go to Amazon, that's where we go. We just load up on it, and you'd be surprised at how it will really, really help you hit longer, straighter shots. So, before we get into the center face contact, would you just circle back around to the swinging or the one motion idea? Sure. Cool. So at home, let's make a couple of swings where the goal is swinging here. Not trying to keep our head down. We don't have a bunch of rules and constraints. It's not a bureaucracy. It's an athletic event. Notice how Ben turned the club upside down. We want you to do that. Smooth swinging motion is a very, very worthy goal. Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
First thing we're going to do here is you're going to take 5 balls. The goal of one motion. Swinging the weight of the club all the way to the finish. And we're just going to see where they hit. We're not going to try to be perfect. We're not going to try to make it this or that. Let's just hit 5 balls here. If the ball goes straight, great. If it doesn't, don't sweat it. Continue to go back to that process of one motion, swinging the weight all the way to the finish.
Swinging motion seems to be a pretty good solution for Ben Bakken.
Okay. So when you did the swinging motion, we see that you seem to hit it exceptionally close to the middle of the face. Dude, where is that when you're my partner player?
I'm trying to make the squat again.
So well done. So now for you at home, Maybe you have some toe marks, maybe it's on the heel, maybe it's high, maybe it's low.
Maybe it's all of those.
All of those. So there could be some randomness. If you see a lot of randomness in the face tape, we would say that that's one of the reasons why the ball doesn't go longer and straighter for you. So the swing isn't going to matter. If you were a tour star, if you had a world-class swing and you hit it way off the toe, what's going to happen?
There's a lot of things that could happen. So one of the things that we can tell you is when you hit the toe of the golf club, the face likes to twist. And when the face likes to twist, the golf ball's gonna do some really funny things. So I can tell you what happens to me when I hit the toe is my ball looks like this. It starts kind of straight and it just dives left because there's gear effect that happens. And when you're hitting the toe, it actually puts left spin on the golf ball, causing it to do some weird stuff. Even if my swing plane is on plane and the club face is perfectly square at impact, if I'm hitting the toe, it's gonna do some weird stuff.
There you go. So this center face contact is radically important. We talked about low point with the irons. We're talking center face contact as the next most fundamental necessary thing that has to happen for you to play better golf.
Yeah, so we would say go to center face contact before you start changing the direction of your swing or trying to hold the face open, trying to get it closed, because none of those things really matter unless you're hitting the middle of the face.
That's true. So a lot of times people put the cart before the horse and they're not actually looking in the appropriate area. Center face contact is radically important. You know, if you're on Instagram, you're seeing everybody hold up the tape like this. It's because they're happy with what they see once they get there. And it's relatively easy to do. We're going to start doing that right now. Okay, so here's the activity. We're going to start off, get you some new tape or new foot spray. We're going to start off trying to hit the ball in different parts of the face. So again, we're not going to try to be perfect. We're going to experiment and calibrate so you understand what the toe feels like and the heel feels like, and then give you the ability or the capacity to be able to shift it. So being able to shift it, being in control of what you're doing is radically more important, and it's going to lead to the outcomes that you're looking for. So Ben got a little Sharpie here. He's got some lines on it. We can have the toe section of the golf club. We could have the heel section and then the center section. So where would you like to begin? Would you like to try to hit off the toe of the club first or the heel of the club first?
Let's go toe first and see what happens.
Okay. So at home, you're going to hit 3 shots where you try to hit it off the toe.
Not bad. As you're going through this activity, one of the other things that we would recommend is kind of take a stab at where you think you hit it on the club face before you look at it. Because one of the things that the USGA is not going to allow you to do is bring the face tape on the golf course with you in a tournament round. So if you get really good at kind of knowing what a heel shot feels like and what a toe shot feels like, it can help with adjustments on the golf course.
Very good. So show us one more. So trying to hit it off the toe. Now, whatever you have to do to try to hit it off the toe is fair game. Whether it be back up, whether it be grip down on the club, whether it be aim at a different spot. There is no perfect to this. It's just you right now trying to figure, well, how am I going to do this? Right? And there's no wrong answer to that. It's just a problem-solving event. So, having said that, you tried for 3 on the toe, yeah?
Oh yeah,
Was that last one a doozy?
almost dented my driver on the last one. Didn't hit the tape, but I could see it hit right there.
Very good. So that there is way off the toe.
Oh yeah, I can do it.
So a lot of you, let's say that you people come to us for lessons and they do that. People do that, and that's okay. But they don't know why the ball went over into the trees. And the reason is because you did that.
Yeah, you didn't hit the middle of the face.
And the solution is, we gotta not do that. We gotta get it off of the toe. So now to do that, let's say that this is your issue. You were hitting it off the toe. No problem. Now give me 3 where you try to hit it off the heel of the club on purpose. Remember, whatever you have to do is fair game to get it off the heel, whether it's stand closer, who knows, man.
Yeah.
Aim a different, try to miss to the outside.
So just so you all know at home, this is a play call that works very, very well for me. When I was trying to hit the middle of the face earlier, I was actually trying to hit the heel because I know that works for me. So you notice what happened here. So I was trying to hit it over here and I hit it in the middle. So am I freaking out because I told myself I was going to hit the heel and I was trying to hit it? No. The only thing that is coming to my mind is if I want to hit the middle of the face more frequently, maybe I should keep trying to hit the heel.
There you go. So again, there's no like neurotic, like, oh my goodness gracious, the world's falling in. Like, oh my God, I'm doing it wrong.
I was trying to hit it slightly on the heel there and I hit the middle of the face. So in effort to hit the heel on the next two, I am going to try to hit more heel. So the first time I was kind of trying to hit the face in here. I'm going to try to hit the face in here this time to see if I can actually hit it on the heel.
Yeah, so for the sake of building in the capacity to adjust, go to the extremes to actually get it off the heel. So show us what
I hit it.
Oh, I got it. I got it.
Truth be told there, I felt like I was swinging my golf club somewhere over here.
Is it fair to say that you were aiming over here? We would call that to the outside of the ball.
Yeah.
Where you are on the inside of the ball.
Yeah.
So you were trying to swing to the outside of the ball
Outside
to actually get it?
Yes, I was actually trying to swing my club way over here, almost on the shaft.
No kidding.
And then that's what the outcome was as a result of that intention.
Yeah, and then if you're outside, maybe if you hit it on the heel, you actually hit on the heel, you can see that it makes a curve to the right.
Yeah. And it doesn't go very far either.
So people come to us with like, I've lost all my distance.
Yeah.
Maybe the issue is you're just hitting it off the heel, yeah.
That's true.
Okay, so remember when I said it's fair game, whatever you do. So in that case, Ben had a good example of that, just swinging way to the outside of the ball. Actually get it on the heel.
Yeah.
Right there is way on the heel. All right. So you try at home for 3 off the toe, 3 off the heel. Now let's see what happens when you try for the middle. Cool. So you're not going to try for the heel to get the
No, I'm just going to try to hit the middle.
Gotta keep my hand.
Just trying to make the squat, man. A little bit on the toe, not quite in the middle.
Got it.
Toe.
Very good. So what Ben is doing here, he can feel the toe. He's building in the capacity or the awareness of where the ball's hitting on the face. So a lot of you at home, you know, in golf instruction is all about making it a certain way versus actually laying the foundation for the feel that you'll need, the awareness that you'll need to get better as you go. So good players can tell you where they hit it on the face.
Yeah, and good players can also tell you what their tendencies are.
Right, right.
You know, so one of the things I notice, if you watch Zach Johnson set up to his golf ball, when he sets up to a driver, it's pretty interesting. So his driver setup actually looks like this.
And he smokes.
Yeah, and he smokes the middle of the club face every time, but Zach Johnson is very aware of his tendencies, so I'm guessing his tendency through the year was maybe to hit a little bit on the heel, so what he learned is, well, if I just set up on the toe every time, I'm going to hit the middle of the club face, I'm going to hit bombs down the middle of the fairway, I'm going to get that wedge in my hand, I'm going to get it tight every time.
British Open and Masters.
That's right.
All right. So what's funny is Zach Johnson put it on the toe, but Fuzzy Zeller back in the day, remember what he used to do?
The opposite.
Yeah, so show us. So he'd put it up, way up on the heel. So there's an example of 2 guys who were both Masters champions doing it opposite ways.
Yep.
But making it work for them. Cool. So this training program, in that case, we just started with some swinging on the driver, get you some face tape or some Dr. Scholl's spray, and then really start to pay attention to where it's hitting and then start to move it around.
You got it.
Very good. And at no time are we like thinking if I get it, then I got it, and all my problems will be over. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately.
Nope.
We're just going to go through the training activities to start to build a foundation that you can build on. Okay, so this is a foundational training program that is going to give you a world of skills that you can build on. Cool. Any questions or comments that you'd like to add before we finish up here?
The only thing that I would add is when you're running these experiments, just remember that what works today isn't necessarily going to work tomorrow. So one of the gifts we're trying to give you is just the experiment. So if you're struggling in one of these categories, you have something that you can rely on to find your ability to strike it solid. So just remember, because today I'm trying to hit the heel and it turns up in the middle, that might not work tomorrow, but I know an experiment that I can now use to help myself find the middle of the club face. So I think a lot of people assume that I went to the range yesterday, I got a tournament tomorrow, oh my gosh, I was trying to hit the heel, I was hitting the middle every time, I got it. No, you don't. I hate to say it that way, but you don't. What you do have is an experiment that will allow you to help you find the middle of the club face.
Yeah. So helping you help yourself is really the art of the deal. So if you can help yourself and you know what to do, that's as good as it gets. That's as good as it gets.
Get good at coaching yourself.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, we just want to invite you to join the training program moving forward. We're going to take action. We're going to do it. We're not going to debate theories or try to be right or wrong, or we're over that debate. We're going to warm up. We'll use the Tathata Warm-Up to get the patterns right and get you warmed up, get you ready to swing. We're going to focus on awareness. Can you pay attention? Right? That's going to be a very, very important part of this. We're going to vary it. We're not going to stay in one place too long and act like robots and try to swing it over and over and over again the right way. We're not going to do that. Low point is number one most important fundamental. If you can't control where the club hits the ground,
Dead in the water.
Dead in the water. And then where you're hitting on the middle of the club face is really important. So we're gonna be intentional about that. And then we'll always have some putting or chipping experiment to run in there, so it can help your scoring aspects. So we're gonna, in an hour or so, run through this program. And we're gonna do about one a week. So subscribe to our page, follow in. If you have some buddies that your partners in the league that you feel like could use some help, send them on over, and we'd love to help them too. So we appreciate you joining us, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.